Happy Tuesday, it's not Tuesday. Happy Wednesday morning, everyone. This is Arnie, and it's fantasy time. Lenny, great job at 9 o'clock. I'm telling you, the only bad thing about having a 10 o'clock slot on LennyMelnickFantasySports.com is simply this. I have to follow the legend. But you know what? Somebody's got to do it, so let's give it a whirl. Lot to talk about today. We're going to save this little nugget, okay? But I'm going to talk about later in the show my Mt Rushmore of rookie pitchers. Yeah, I've got a group I want to talk about with you today. They are not in the major leagues at the present time. They may well be before the season is out. And if they are more than just fantasy relevant. And I think all 4 or 5 of these pitchers may just well be in that group. Let's start out, first of all, let's talk about some news, some players, some things, that went on. And, of course, Lenny covered it thoroughly, but I got a few more nuggets I want to throw at you. The Cubs, looking at the division this morning, and I'm going to talk about run differential some more and things like that today. But I'm looking at the National League Central this morning, and the Cubs are 30-23. They sit atop the division. Yeah, sure. They're a half a game ahead of Milwaukee. They're 4 games up on the Pirates. They're 4 games up on the Cardinals, and only 5 games up now. Only 5 games up now on the Reds. So you got 5 teams within 5 games. And the Cubs have lost 3 in a row. More bad news. Chris Bryant's been out, missed a few games. Well, Joe Maddon said Tuesday that they're preparing for the rest of the year without Ben Zobrist, who is out for personal reasons. Zobrist is 38 years old and has announced just recently that he's dealing with a personal family issue, which is an ongoing divorce between he and his wife, Juliana. And if you've gone through that, then you know that a divorce is, tough. Anytime you're dealing with a personal issue of that nature, it's a tough deal. It really is. Zobrist, 38, going through that. Zobrist is also in a walk year. Yeah. So it's not exactly the best of times for Ben Zobrist to possibly miss the rest of the season. But that's what it's looking like, which means this. Addison Russell, fantasy relevant. Bodie, more fantasy relevant. Because it means that where Zobrist was floating around and playing some second base and playing some outfield, he won't be there to do that. David Bodie will. So those are some guys that you need to keep your eyes on for fantasy, and we'll see how the Cubs deal with this. But that division is more than just interesting. I'll tell you what else is interesting about that division to me. You look at run differential, and the Cubs through 53 games are a plus 50, okay? Which is really good. Second in that division in run differential, all right? And, if you will, now fourth in the entire National League, the Cincinnati Reds, at plus 41. And anytime you are scoring that many runs, you are fantasy relevant, folks. And so the Reds, they're players. I've been saying this over and over. And last night it was Derek Dietrich. And he was just on fire last night. He hit 3 home runs for Cincinnati. And, wow, what a season Derek Dietrich is having. And I noticed the lineup today. They're playing a left-hander. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But Dietrich last night, he was on fire.
15 home runs for Derek Dietrich. His career high is 16. He might get that tonight. But we've discussed already what might or might not happen here tonight. And it's in the air to right. Don't tell me again. It is again for Dietrich. His career high has been matched. We said he might break it tonight. He had 16 last year, but it took him 499 at-bats to do it. He now has 16. Oh, my gosh, he's done it.
So there's Dietrich. How about his 254 average? He has scored 24 runs, 17 bombs, 35 RBIs. Wow. And he's really only been a part-time player. So the Reds, the Cubs, the Brewers, the Cardinals, in that division, I really am not a big Pittsburgh fan or proponent. They have a run differential of a negative 68. Their pitching has been decimated with injuries. They lost another pitcher last night. So, I don't really think Pittsburgh, I can see them fading out of that race. I can see the Reds moving in and it becoming a 4-team race as we continue on with the season. Wow. Looking at the National League East this morning, the Philadelphia Phillies have a 2.5-game lead over the Atlanta Braves, and now the Mets have pulled to 500 with a big win last night. And a big part of that last night was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Conforto. Conforto, his first career grand slam off a left-hander, Scott Alexander for the Dodgers. Now, Conforto's numbers, I'm going to give them to you. 266 average, 28 runs, 10 homers, 26 RBIs, 3 stolen bases. But remember, we're 50, the Mets have played 54 games. Conforto has missed 9 of those. So he has missed a sixth of the Mets' games in total and still accumulated those numbers. The Mets have won 7 out of 10. Okay? They finish series today in L.A. tonight. I think the Mets are in it. Now, there's been reports of Noah Syndergaard, and maybe Syndergaard is hurt. So, if you are an owner of Syndergaard, just take a look at it. I'm not telling you what to do, but he may be someone that you want to look at trading. Now, if Noah Syndergaard is down with any injury, that will take a dent into the Mets' playoff chances and into that divisional race, no doubt about it. But the bats look pretty good. Conforto's back. Just saying, I think the Mets can be a player, and I think they certainly should not be someone that you just write off, as we go through the season. Looking at the National League West, the Dodgers just keeping on. Cody Bellinger with his 20th home run. They've won 7 out of 10. Run differential of 79. That's the best in the National League. They're 20-7 at home, 16-12 on the road. They have the best home record in the National League. They lead the Padres by 7 games. They lead the Diamondbacks by 8. And they lead the Colorado Rockies by 9. So the Dodgers seem to be in firm control of the West. The East and the Central, though, totally up for grabs. We'll keep our eye on those divisions. In the American League, wow, I'm loving these two, at least one division race. And I'm also looking at this wild card. I talked about the wild card fairly in depth last night on my 6 o'clock show. And I basically said it's a 3-team horse race for 2 spots between Oakland, Boston, and Tampa Bay. All right? So the Yankees are leading the East by 1 game. They've won 8 of 10. They did lose last night, 5-4 to San Diego. Tampa, 1 game out. They beat Toronto last night, 3-1. The Boston Red Sox. Wow. Last night was one of those games that you may wish you had back, right? The Boston Red Sox leading the Indians going into the 9th inning, and then the bottom fell out.
The Indians are down 3 with Roberto Perez, Jake Bowers, and Greg Allen due up. Pitch swung on him pretty well to deep center. Looking up and watching this one get out of here is Jackie Bradley Jr. Wow, did that ball take off? And so Roberto Perez to dead center, and the Indians trail 5-3. And they bring the tying run to the plate in Greg Allen. Greg Allen gets into one. Deep right field. We've got a brand new ball game. Greg Allen's first home run of the year and just his fifth hit in 47 at-bats has just tied the game at 5 in the ninth. That is his first hit on the road this year. How about that? The remaining visits, they have one left. Hopefully it's not going to take one. Luplo can take advantage and get this run home. Here's a ball driven. Deep right field. Betts is back. It's over his head, and he can't make the play. Lindor scores from third to go-ahead run. Here comes Mercado. He scores as well. It's a two-run double for Jordan Luplo, and they lead it 7-5. And the Indians have a 5 spot on the board in Fenway.
Wow.
The Indians are down.
The Indians with a 5-run night at Fenway Park in Boston last night. That audio is courtesy of YouTube and MLB. And they come back and they win in Boston by 2 runs. Greg Allen, his first home run of the year. Greg Allen came into that at bat 5 for 47, folks. Luplo, the ball he hits it deep to right field, no doubt about it. Probably 2 feet from the warning track and decently high, right? Betts puts his glove up. The ball actually hits off Betts' glove. I challenge you to look at the video. Had that been an infielder, it would have been an error, okay? It was a ball that you have seen Mookie Betts catch many, many times, okay? He did not catch it that time. So the ball drops, the Luplo double, they score 5, they beat the Red Sox, come back from 3 down. That one hurts. The Red Sox are now 6.5 behind the Yankees, and they, of course, invade Yankee Stadium tomorrow for 4. Chris Sale will start the series, it looks like, for the Red Sox. So that'll be some good baseball played in the Bronx this weekend. In the Central, well, is there any stopping the Twins? I mean, really, Eddie Rosario hits a 2-run homer, his league best 17th of the season last night. The Twins beat the Brewers 5-3. The Twins had a 5-run 7th, and that homer was Rosario's 4th in his last 6 games. He has 47 RBIs. He leads the league in that. He has an 8-game hitting streak. Yes, I've got a man crush on Eddie Rosario this morning because why wouldn't I? Because of the way he's playing the game of baseball here of late. His overall line is now up to 282 on average, a 565 slug through 52 games. There's just not a lot he can't do other than fly right now. And so the Twins continue their onslaught. Look at this run differential. Only one team in the American League Central has a positive run differential, okay? It's the Minnesota Twins at 112. Did you hear me? 112 run differential for the Twins. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, DK Luce says, go Tribe. Chappie says, Ian Happ. I guess it's time. Lou, good to see you in the chat room too. Easy Kill, great to see you. So, all you guys in the chat room, I love it when you make comments and questions and disagree with me, whatever. The closest to the run differential of the Twins in Major League Baseball would be the Astros. We're going to get to that in a minute. But the Twins have outscored the Astros by 19 runs. Chaplin, I have not pre-recorded. I am live, buddy. I am live. So that answers that question, right? So the Cleveland Indians 10 games out. The Chicago White Sox 12 games out. I mean, it looks like Minnesota through 54 games, a third of the season, they're going to run away with the Central, don't you think? And another big reason, it's not just what Minnesota is doing, it's what Cleveland isn't. Now, Cleveland came back and won a big game in Boston last night. But who's more disappointing in fantasy than Jose Ramirez? Are you a Jose Ramirez truther, so to speak? Are you a big fan?